Good afternoon, everybody. I am creating this video as an instructional video for your midterm paper. So instead of having a midterm exam, we're going to have a midterm paper. And if I can, I'm going to share this screen with you so I can walk you through what we have. Okay, so what you're going to do is on your home page, for example, if we go to 130201A, you are going to find these tabs. Click on assignments on the left. You'll see a folder called midterm paper. Click on that. Instructions and the prompt, the rubric for how it's going to be graded, and the link for, and also just for reference, this link, when you turn in, say, the midterm paper, if you want to go back and look at it after I've graded it or after you have submitted it, you can click on this same link. See how it says view complete? You click on that link and it will take you to a kind of a menu board for Turnitin, and you'll get to pick which assignment you want to look at. And it should be, view should be the only option for you, seeing as how you would have already submitted it. Okay, either way, you want to click the view option, and it should look like a button on the right side of your screen when you want to do that. And that's where you can go in and look at the papers that I've graded and if I left comments. Now, I leave comments on every paper that doesn't score a perfect 100. So if I've taken points off, I left a comment as to why. And you can go into those papers and you want to look at the little squares that have they're blue with a. I know that if you pull it up and right away there's a column on the right that says no comments were left, that's not correct. I did actually leave comments on your papers. They're on the actual paper itself. Usually where it is that I was looking for something that I thought was missing. So scroll through your papers, look for those blue boxes with thought bubbles in them, and then hover over it with your mouse, and that will tell you how to view or how to correct what needs correcting or whatever comment that I made. But back to the midterm paper, these are the three that we have. Now, if we pull up the prompt, we'll start here, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it full screen. Okay, so you are going to use two of the following public enemies and their respective sources to write a 500 to 1,000 word essay that fully answers the following prompt. So here's your list of suspects, so to speak. John Dillinger, Bonnie Parker, Clyde Barrow, Alphonse Capone, John Ashley, George Kelly Barnes, Charles Arthur Floyd, Lester Joseph Gillis. And in the chart, I've also included the crimes that they were, right, were innocent until proven guilty, the years in which they were operating, the years in which they died, and then what law enforcement agency was involved in their capture. So some of them, for example, John Dillinger was not captured. He was killed in 1934 by a law enforcement agency. And if you want to do him, send me an email and I'll get you more information on who fired the shot. And then the nickname, right? So John Dillinger didn't have a nickname, but you've got Bonnie and Clyde, Scarface, King of the Everglades, Machine Gun Kelly, Pretty Boy Floyd, Babyface Nelson. And these are all very famous criminals, right, that were operating during the Great Depression. So that's really our main focus. Time-wise, during the Great Depression, which is 1929 to 1939, there were a series of famous gangsters, such as you can see the list, committing crimes throughout the United States. This period became known in law enforcement as the public enemies era, the FBI keeping a, quote, public enemies list of wanted criminals. Now we call that the FBI's most wanted list. Below are a list of the criminals and their crimes. Despite their extensive list of criminal behavior and violence, many were and remain beloved by Americans. In your essay, you should discuss why they were so beloved, and you need to discuss the context, i.e. Great Depression, and if that had an impact on their public persona. Also include a discussion of the changes made in the criminal justice system because of their exploits. So, just to kind of break this down, you need to pick two people off the list. You decide you want to do Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, they're considered one because they are a couple. No, they did all their crimes together. Well, they did together. Okay. So if you're going to use Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, you have to do one other enemy, public enemy. Okay. So you've got to pick your two people. Then you want to discuss why they're so loved, the context in which they were operating, Great Depression. Maybe some of them operated in specific parts of the country. Oklahoma was a big one for Bonnie and Clyde. Then you also need to, if the Great Depression had an impact on their public persona. And then the third thing, discuss the changes made in the criminal justice system because of their exploits. Okay. So, for example, and again, I'm just going to use Bonnie and Clyde because it just came to mind. If we were talking about changes made in the criminal justice system because of their exploits, they did kill police officers when they were trying to arrest them, trying to pull them over actually for a traffic stop. In fact, that was one of the worst ones they did. A guy just pulled them over, cop pulled them over to warn them about a broken tail light or something small of that nature, and they killed him. And one of the changes made to the law enforcement agencies in the area was to make sure that there were officers on patrol now instead of just one. So that's an example of a change made in the criminal justice system because of exploits, I should say. Okay, so those are the three main things you want to keep in mind. Okay, make sure your paper answers those 3 points. Right? Also make sure you picked two people. Then if we go down here, it'll tell you the goals and the formatting, right? This is all just details, it needs to be typed, double spaced, 12 point, Times New Roman font. Cite your sources using Chicago Manual style. Again, there's a link for help. You need to use footnotes for in-text citations, and your paper needs to have a bibliography page with the sources you used. It is due October 19th, 2022, so a week from yesterday, right? You don't have anything due this week, and you need to make sure that you are working on this paper, okay? Submitting the assignment, that's pretty specific, you know that. But let's go up here to the goals. We want to advance your ability to reason through a specific historical question and to communicate through written text your ideas. Your paper should critically consider the issue or problem and deliver all relevant information. You should also provide a clear thesis statement. This is really important, right? Thesis. In a paper this size, your introduction and thesis should appear in your first. I will also upload a document tomorrow when I go back on campus, and it is how to write a good thesis, and I will put it under this midterm assignment. I'll also put it under course content as well. Your paper should use evidence to answer the question. You need to develop and organize your thoughts clearly and logically. Outlining is a necessary but not required step in writing a well-organized paper. Your paper should draw a conclusion that addresses the paper's chief topic or question and that states your answer to the question or your contribution to the topic. All right, so those are the instructions. Keep your submission receipt once you submit it. Now, if we go down here to primary and secondary sources, and here's where you can use these to answer that component about changes the Bureau made after these public enemies. Now, the FBI.gov history, that's going to be just a general web page, and then you have to navigate to each individual one. And the links are here for the specific people. If you go down here to the next set, Web Archive, John Ashley, etc., these are all newspaper articles or media articles about the specific people. Okay, so this is going to be a secondary source, whereas an FBI file could be considered a primary source, especially since we're talking about the person the FBI file is about. Just to give you a heads up on FBI files, you're going to find that there's going to be a lot of stuff blacked out, right? They've released it all through the Freedom of Information Act, but also because it has been so long since these cases were active. But just be wary that there might be pages and pages that have nothing that you can read on them, and they can be long. So you want to sift through those and see what information you'd like to use. And then when you do decide, make sure that you're citing the website or the source that you're using Chicago Manual style. All right. As always, if you have any questions at all, please email me, text me on that Google number. You can find that on the Blackboard homepage right here. Actually, you can find it under faculty, right? The 281940, that's the Google number. You can come to office hours on Tuesday, or I will be on campus tomorrow, and I will be in the office from 12 to 1. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Hope this helps.